Hi, everybody in middle school, 5th through 8th grade. Um, we are going to be moving on and starting another section or unit or whatever you like to refer to it as in computer class starting today, which will last us for a good amount of time, definitely several weeks as we are in the second half of our school year here. And everything that we're going to be talking about for the next couple of weeks all has to do with digital design, graphic art, photo editing, kind of all of those topics that all revolve around similar things, but then also have some minor differences. And while we do that, we are going to look at a couple of different programs or websites, and it's a really great time because I will tell you that in the past, when somebody went to learn about digital design, they really had very few choices. You needed a program, probably one of the most well known being Photoshop, along with a couple of others, and there weren't that many available. They usually cost some money or a lot of money, and it took a lot of learning to be able to use any of them. Today, if you just think of, I know everyone has probably seen photo editing, photo manipulation apps on phones and tablets, and websites where you can have 8 million choices of different ways to go ahead and work with digital images, photos, and each one has different strengths and weaknesses. There is no possible way that we could look at every one of them in the world that are available, but I'm going to highlight a few and have a couple specific projects over the next few weeks. The first of which that we're going to be looking at today is on a website that I'm going to pull up now. You have a couple ways to get to it. I will link it in Google Classroom, which would be easy to click on. It is available in Weymouth Portal, and I'll point that out right here as I put all the links that are for things that we use in Weymouth Portal, and it is called Sketchpad. If you ever are just typing it into a web address and you're comfortable and used to doing that, you can actually type it in two different ways. You can either type in sketch.io. That will bring you there. The only difference there is that you do have to pick which language before you can use it. Or you can type in sketchpad.app. And either one that you use will successfully get you to this website that we're going to use. So for today, we're going to start off doing one type of thing or type of project, and I'll give you a little sample. But each week, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to change it up. We're going to look at a lot of different things you can do and different ways you can do it using this site, using several other sites for a couple of different projects, because there are literally hundreds, maybe even thousands of different ways that you can use digital design and graphic design and photo editing on devices, computers, Chromebooks, tablets, and anything else you may use. So for today, this site, sketchpad.app, I'm highlighting it for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's free. Anybody can use it for free. They do have some paid premium options, just like a lot of things do, but there is absolutely no need to pay anything. It's completely free. Um, Also, it has a lot of tools. We're really going to look at basics today, but if you start to spend some time on this, you may come to realize it has amazing amounts of tools that are there that you can kind of discover on your own. Some of them will go through, and it can be very, very useful for many different things that you might want to create or make online. Um, I have so much to say, and I'm trying to sum it up because I'm trying to keep the video short. So I'll mix it up where we'll do a little, and then I might comment a little. But one thing I'll say is that we are not going to look at every possible thing that you could do on this website. If I were to try to teach you in one video every possible thing you could do, the video would wind up being probably 4 or 5 hours long. And if I get videos close to 40 minutes, people start giving me some gripes that they are not happy about it. So to keep the video short, we're going to look at some basics today and a basic project idea that I have for you guys. And on your own, you are welcome to try out other things, try out different things, different tools, and maybe we'll look at some others in the future as we go and use this site and several other sites. So when we first get there, it has a little pop-up screen. We don't really need it. If you are the type of person that likes to read through user guides at all to find some information, you're welcome to, but there's really nothing else that we need from this pop-up window. Here we have a basic layout where there is a toolbar over on the left side, the main workspace in the middle, and then also a few other options, including the one I'll probably talk about the most, the undo tool over here on the right. Okay, now you can set up this workspace as either a transparent clear image. You could set it up as a grid. You could set it up as just a clean white space. You could set it up as kind of a blue background, as if you were going to make blueprints, like you might have seen if you ever watched Mythbusters, an old show Mythbusters. They would kind of use that a lot. But for us, like I said, we're going with really basic today in the project idea I have for you. And so we're just going to leave the settings as is. We could tweak and change a ton of things, but we don't really need to for today, just to try out this site. Um, so the basic thing that we're going to be doing is using the tools over here on the left to go ahead and sketch or draw something. Now, there are a lot of tools, and with each one, there are settings, customizations, sub-tools in those categories, but let me point out the main ones we're going to use. First, if you hover above this pencil tool right here, that's probably the one that we're going to be using the most. Starts off as a pencil, and it can just draw as such, but you may notice that if you go and you give this a click, you can also change a couple different things. I wouldn't recommend changing a lot. I'm going to tell you very easily what I would change. First, where it says pencil, there's a drop down where it has a variety of pencil tools. Some of these will work better for what we're doing. Some of them would work better for other things. Some of them are maybe a little bit more complex to use. But what I'll say is that the main things that we would probably want to use for today are the pencil and the line tool. Okay, and as I explain the project in just a second, maybe you would see why. Again, you'll want to test any others out. Go for it. Have a good time. But you could always use that undo button if you discover it's not working well, or that maybe you want to use them for something else on your own. Okay, so that's the tool selection right there. There is also a fill and outline color section right here, or color chooser. So with both of those, you can pick the fill or inside color that you might use and the outline color. If we're using, like I suggested, the pencil and the line tool, we really only need to worry about the outline color, and as you can see, the fill color for this is completely blanked out. If we were making a shape, if we were drawing something that's a square or a star or a circle, then the fill and the outline would become a little bit more important. And last but not least, the main one I'm going to focus on is the line width. You can get an idea if I have this line width at 3 pixels, that's what the PX stands for, then it's going to be a fairly thin line. And that's for both the pencil and the line tool. If I were to go and change that to, say, 12, you can see that that thickness increases, and it can change a lot. Now, little bit about the project that I thought of, and I'll just tell you for a second where this idea even came from. My son, who's 13, so middle school age, like a lot of you, he plays a lot of video games, and he posts and communicates on websites like Discord, like Reddit, some others about in certain games that he plays, maps and locations of things and techniques of how to do certain tasks. And he creates some that he posts for other people create them, and they use this app pretty frequently to go ahead and do that. It's not the only one, not even necessarily the best one, but I've seen him do it a couple times, and that's what gave me the idea. Oh, maybe you guys would like that idea, find it useful, find it cool. So my idea for a project today is to make some type of map. All right, so make some type of map or diagram, and you can have so many different choices. Think of a video game, and if there's a video game you play, I could rattle off the names of many of them. Think of making maybe a map of one of the levels or sections or locations in that video game. Maybe a diagram of your room. I know when I was a little younger and first getting houses, I made a lot of sketches of how I wanted to lay out rooms and furniture and different decorations and things and measurements, and so maybe a map in that way. It could be a map of a location, like say a playground, say the property that our school is on, say your home, whether it be the whole property of your home or whether it be your room, and inside and outside. Or as one last idea, because I'm trying to give some freedom, some different brainstormed ideas here, a treasure map. Let's say you wanted to just create a totally fictional type of treasure map. Maybe that's something you could do. So this project is to create some type of map. And last time, I'll speak about my son very quickly. To get a little help in an example of what I meant, I just last night asked my son, I said, hey, would you give me something I can use for an example for my class and just make me a map of a level of the game, something people would know, something that's common. And in about 30 minutes, he created a very simplistic version of a map. You'll probably recognize it. And I did a little sped up time lapse video that I'll show you guys for an example right here of exactly what he made using the same website and the idea of what I'm asking you guys to do for a project. So here it is. It's only about 15 seconds long. Again, it's sped up. He didn't do it exactly this quickly, but he used a combination of that line tool that I mentioned, the pencil tool that I mentioned, plus some other things that I'll mention as we go through. And very quickly he made, and now that ended the video, it went through quickly, but here's the final version of the little map that he made with a key, with some basic pointers and features of that main Among Us map. I guess you call it the skilled, however you pronounce that, with some labels, with a little key, with some vent paths, with some icons marking some places. And this is very similar to what I've seen him do to make maps and diagrams for things to do with gaming that he posts online to try to convey that information to other people. So, if you wanted to do the same one, you could, but I'm not saying that you have to go do this exact thing. Think of something that maybe you're interested in. Think of something that maybe you would enjoy, maybe you would think is cool. And to keep the video short, I'm not going to show every single thing that you could possibly do, but getting back to the app, here's a basic technique that you might use. Okay? To click on my drawing tool right here, I'm going to change it to a line. And I'm going to make the width just slightly bigger, maybe like a 4. And let's just say I wanted to make a basic map of a room. Okay? I would click my starting point. Maybe move, and let's say I start my room with a simple square or rectangular shape. Click my next point, drag down, and I don't need to hold down my mouse button when I'm using this line tool in the same way that I would with a pencil tool. And then go ahead and click again, 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 and I have my basic shape. Now, just to give one tip here, I want to close my path, which will complete the tool, because as you can see right here, I don't have my mouse held down, my button held down, and it makes it seem like I can't end this. I can't get out of it. The one way to get out of it is by closing off your path, closing off your line, which I'll do right here, and then you see it makes a complete line shape. The other way is, let's say I wanted to make a straight line, and it wasn't an enclosed path. I'll do that by clicking a starting point. Oh, sorry, I had to click my check mark up at the top, finished editing, but I could go and click my starting point, go and click a second point if maybe I just wanted this to be a line that's just floating out into space. But now see how it looks like it wants me to continue. I could go ahead and use my escape key, and that will end that line very quickly and have it be a finished product and have me out of it. Okay, so that's a technique. If I wanted to change colors and I wanted to have some color code and color combinations, I could do that. And let's say I'm using the idea that I'm making a room, but I didn't have any specific things in mind. We'll say this is a little table over here in blue. And then I'll do one more where I make it a little thicker and make it in a reddish color. And we'll do just kind of another, oh, I always forget to check that check mark, and we'll make it another shape right here. And as you can see, using that line tool, you can very quickly, very easily make those different designs that will help you to make some type of map, schematics, architecture, drawing, something like I suggested earlier. Um, and as you saw where there was the check mark, there was the X, and there was the trash can, if you made it and then you decided you didn't like that finished product from that section that you did, you could always click on the X or the trash can. And don't forget about our handy undo tool here, which can bring us back so we can make some adjustments if we wanted to, and go ahead and change those shapes, change those things, or completely take them away if we decided that we didn't want them at all, didn't like them. Okay, so your line tool and your pencil tool are going to be the most useful for doing this project. Now, just as a side note, for those who are interested, when we think of things like the spray paint can, the stamp, the sketchy, actually sketchy is so cool, and maybe I'll show that in a video some other time, spirograph, web, like so many of these other things, they're awesome. They wouldn't work very well for this project, but what I encourage you to do is after you do this for class today and you finish, if you're interested, go back and try some. As I was experimenting with this, I used the Sketchy tool right here, and in like 5 minutes, just off the top of my head, and I am no great artist, I sketched out like a skeleton hand, like the bones of a skeleton hand, and it looked awesome because of some of the features of that sketchy tool right there. Really, really cool, and some of the other ones are as well. But for the purposes of this, really just stick with your line and your pencil tool. Okay, so try doing that. Now, some things I suggest. Text, okay? It would be great if you labeled first maybe a title at the top, like my bedroom. Okay, I'll just put that there for a sample. My bedroom doesn't really look like this. It would be a little bit of an odd bedroom, but I'll put that there as a sample. And then maybe add in some labels for other things. Like right here, I don't want the size of that to be quite so big, so I'm going to go ahead and change the size to be a little bit smaller. Change the font to something I like, and you guys have seen these types of settings and things many, many times. And go ahead and type right here, my bed. And then you can use your handles to drag and size that to the way that you would like it. You can move it around and press the check mark when you're done to label different things on your map or on your diagram. Finally, as a bonus, something because we are doing some map making, I would love to see you incorporate, and it may work well depending on what type of thing you choose, is to add in a key, right? A legend or a key, as they will have in a lot of maps. So I'll show one way to do that. See where it says star right here? Well, this lets us choose different shapes. So I'm going to click a rectangle, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle on the side. I'm going to use text, and I'm going to type in map key. I'm going to resize that. I could change colors. I could change fonts. I could change so many things. I'm going to put that right here. And then I might make some different shapes in there, like I'll say this star, and change the color of that fill to, let's make a star purple. I'm going to say that this star, oops, I clicked by accident, so I'm going to undo. This star right here is going to represent where there's dirty dishes. And I'm going to label that, I guess I have my son on my mind here, so I'm going to label that dirty dishes, and that's going to be what this icon is for whenever I go to use it. Instead of just clicking to add a text box this time, I'm actually going to draw so that I can fit in a size that I want right off the bat and type in dirty dishes and have that be what that icon represents. And then I could go and I could label parts of that, like an X marks the spot, or in that little sample I saw before, where some vents are, where some tasks are, or whatever the case may be for the specific map that you are making. I don't like that one on the edge, so I'm going to remove it. And in the end, I'm giving you just a quick version, nothing very fancy, nothing very specific, but this is the basic idea that I'm hoping you try out, that I'm hoping you use today, and try to use it to make something that's like a diagram, an architectural design, a map, to the best of your ability. When I say to the best of your ability, don't worry if it doesn't look like it's expert level or perfect. It's okay. I uh, will have no problem if you did it your best, and maybe some things aren't perfect. Maybe some things are a little crooked, aren't straight, or you have your design turn out to be a little different than what I did. Now, remember to use that undo button a lot if you want to make any changes. I could show you guys so many other things about some features, about some different things you could do, things you could add in. You can try on your own if you want to look through some of the clip art, some of the vector fill tools right there. But the last thing in an effort to keep this video short that I want to show you is what you can do when you're done. Because if you get done and say, oh, I finished, and then just X out, well, that doesn't save your work. That doesn't give you something you can use. That's no fun. So, what you want to do is you want to have a way to save this. Okay, so there's two main things that I'm going to show you. And again, like I said, there's so many different ways of doing things, so many different options. These are not the only two ways by far, but for us, and me thinking of the majority of people probably working on Chromebooks, these are the two best options that we have. So first, down here in this settings button, right, there is one setting right here that says store files, and it says in Google Drive. If I toggle that on, I'm going to see a pop-up come up, and you will too if you do this, and it will show your Google account. It'll ask if you're going to give permission for this app or this site to go and edit things in your Google Drive account, because it needs to be able to store things there. And if you go through and allow it, then you can have it store things directly to your Google Drive, and it will show up there. You'll notice as soon as I did that, it's saying syncing, because I already have a drawing, I already have some things there, and it's syncing to save the things to my Google Drive. If I were to go to my Google Drive in a minute or two once it's done, you would see it show up. The other way, if for some reason anybody has a problem with that, it doesn't work perfectly, is on this little export button right here. Now, in the course of us working with digital images and photo editing and digital design, we can sometimes talk about the different types of formats, extensions, things like that that you can have for picture files or image files. Each one has slightly different properties, slightly different strengths and weaknesses, and for today, I'm going to mention JPEGs. JPEGs are probably the most commonly used and flexible format for working with image files. They're good for everything from pictures like photographs to drawings, paintings, things like that. They compress very well, which means they usually are able to save things or store data in a nice, easy to use small size, and are easy to open and work with in just about every computer or digital device and every program. So, another option that you have for keeping your work today is to click Download JPEG. Once you do that, and I'm sorry, I'm not working on a Chromebook right now, so it would not do the same thing for me, but I'm going to describe it because it's really, really simple. Once you click Download JPEG, it will download an image file of what you just created to the downloaded drive or the actual storage on your Chromebook. And a little pop-up window box will come up right here in the bottom right. Now, you can click so that it can show you where that image is saved, and it'll show you that in your Google Drive, or on your Chromebook rather, it's saved to a download folder. You could leave it there, or once you see that screen where it shows that it's saved to a download folder, if you simply click on the file and drag it into the left where it says Google Drive, it will put it in your Google Drive so that you can use it from there, share it, have it in the cloud to be able to access it on any computer you'd like. I hope you guys find this fun. I hope you're interested in it. If this is your type of thing, some people who are more into doing those sketches, doing those technical drawings, then you should do just fine and you should enjoy it. If this particular project is not your type of thing, then we are going to do some others with working with photos, working with images, working with other websites that I hope that you'll like maybe even a little more or along with this. Um, that's about all. You can certainly message me if you have any issues, any problems today. But one of the last things that I will mention, and this happens so much with things that I teach in my class, is that I teach them. I try to give you guys some experiences, give you some exposure. But really, a lot of what I teach, a lot of what we do in computer class is not solely for computer class. One of the things that is when we do like coding and work in Scratch. But when we do lessons that have to do with keyboard shortcuts, have to do with typing, have to do with working with Google apps and working in Google, it's not so much for my class, it's so that you guys have that knowledge for yourself, for your life, and for your other classes. And that is somewhat the case here. I'm going to show you guys a couple different websites, tools, techniques, but really it's for if you're somebody who likes digital design, photo editing, graphic design, that you could go on your own and have something where maybe you want to make a project, maybe you have a use for doing this type of thing and would like to use it on your own more. And I welcome you and encourage you to do that. All right, everybody. So I hope you enjoy it. Do your best. I can't wait to see what you make. When you're done, please take whatever file you made and share it with me from your Google account so that I can see, so that I can check them out, maybe comment and um, see what you've done. And have a great rest of your day.